Elderly people who believe they're better drivers than most are actually 4 times more likely to make unsafe driving errors. Gun owners who think they're highly knowledgeable about gun safety score the lowest on tests about gun safety. Medical lab workers who rate themselves as highly competent in their jobs are actually the worst at their jobs. The lowest performing college students dramatically overestimate their performance on exams. The lowest performers in a debate competition wildly overestimate how well they do. People with the unhealthiest lifestyle habits rate themselves as far healthier than they actually are. People who score poorly on cognitive reasoning and analytical thinking tests severely overestimate their cognitive and analytical abilities. But why does this happen?
Well, that's an excellent question, Mr. Mark Manson, who also made a video about the Dunning-Kruger effect. But before we can answer the why does this happen, I think we need to look closer at who it affects. And he mentions a few different types of people here in this little clip. You know, fat, dumb, old, gun-owning, college debaters from the medical professional world. And yeah, that's all very valid. I don't disagree with his take there. I do want to add to it, though. I think there's a group of people that, well, there's several groups of people. I mean, ultimately, I feel like this is affecting all of us. But I think there's a specific group of people here worth mentioning that are affected by the Dunning-Kruger effect more so than maybe anyone in that list. And who might that be? Who might I be talking about, I wonder? Well, none other than the police. Now, why would I say that? Why would I say police suffer from the Dunning-Kruger effect more than everyone else listed in that little clip there? Well, you see, as far as we understand, and as far as we're told, police, by their own admission, are the experts on justice, and they have the superior knowledge on how safety and freedom is created. Right? Well, as it turns out, that is incorrect. Police are certainly not the experts of providing safety, and they are most definitely not even remotely qualified for any level of creating freedom or generating freedom in societies. And the reason that is because they follow orders. All throughout history, police follow orders. And the greatest example of that I can give is this clip of a black police officer saying that if the powers that be, the lawmakers, the law writers, were to write into law that segregation were to be enforced again today in modern society, whenever this clip is from. I think it's from the early 2000s. But still, he says, yes, I would do that. Now, does someone who understands freedom and someone who understands how to create freedom within a society, would someone like that ever say that they would enforce segregation laws? Think about it. I mean, it's a no-brainer, unless you're suffering from the Dunning-Kruger. But enough of what I think. Let's have a look at the clip here.
Segregation was a crime in the 50s. Would you enforce that law?
Unfortunately, I wouldn't be an officer back then at that time. If it was, I would enforce it, though.
You would enforce it?
Absolutely.
If you would enforce the segregation law?
I don't make the laws, I just enforce them, sir. The squabble's not with the police, it's with the lawmakers.
See, now just hold your horses there a moment, Deputy Dunning, because number one, that was not a squabble. That was a reasonable, rational question. Well-tempered, even, I'd say. And plus, it's not really like a trivial thing here that he's asking you. You know, like, I think it's kind of important to know if you'd enforce segregation laws or not. You see, I don't think Deputy Dunning here knows the definition of squabble, and yet still chose to use it in a sentence anyway, which you could argue is an example of the Dunning-Kruger effect in itself. But anyway, like, my squabble is with you, Deputy Dunning, not with the lawmakers. because the lawmakers could write in any law they want at any time. And what's concerning is that you don't have the wherewithal to distinguish the fact that just because something is written into law doesn't inherently make it some type of moral freedom creating action. And the fact that you'd be willing to enforce such an unjust law puts you squarely at the peak of Mount Stupid in regards to understanding the dynamics of human freedom and safety.
The point I'm trying to make with all of this, people, is that
the police who claim to possess some type of authoritative expertise on, or even claim to be themselves the conduits of justice and freedom within a society, are in fact standing at the peak of Mount Stupid, shooting rubber bullets at peaceful protesters from upon high. Or in this case, shooting this guy holding his wallet with real bullets. So how could this have happened? How could the very institution which was originally formed as a means for catching runaway slaves for rich U.S. plantation owners of the South have fallen so far off course for understanding how safety and freedom are created within a society? I guess something like that just can truly never be known. Old Socrates? Perhaps that's the case. I personally don't think it is. So let's take a few moments to try and attempt to identify the possible root causes of this tragic misunderstanding of justice and freedom. First, I think it should be noted that law enforcement deputies are faced with many dangerous, stressful situations in their day-to-day duties, which can cause abnormally high levels of adrenaline to be consistently released within their bodies. And so, it should also be noted that there have been several studies linking brain damage to prolonged exposure to high levels of adrenaline, often due to chronic stress. Kind of like what police and military experience on a daily basis. So, I'm not sure if you were aware of this or not, Deputy Dunning, but adrenaline is a drug that should be kept off of our streets, because it causes brain damage. Brain damage which your field of occupation inherently creates. The same type of brain damage caused by drugs on our streets, which can be seen here, being planted by you, courtesy of your own body cam footage, at what once was a real, authentic, drug-free space, until you showed up, Deputy Dunning, with your sorry sack of adrenaline and your bag of evidence that you insisted on planting at a non-criminal crime scene.
This is your brain on drugs.
So I think the funny part here worth mentioning is that what originally sparked the Dunning-Kruger effect to begin with, as an idea, was a bank robbery which took place in 1995, in which the robbers used lemon juice to cover their faces, thinking it would serve as some type of camouflage against the security cameras. But as we all know, lemon juice does not magically make you invisible to security cameras. Just as we know that planting drugs in a soup can doesn't magically make the people you're, quote, investigating criminals. In fact, it actually makes you a criminal. But don't worry, folks, Deputy Dunning was suspended, so I'm sure he won't do it again. But this other guy wasn't so lucky. See, this other guy, let's just call him Deputy Dunning. He also got caught planting drugs on his own body cam, but instead of being suspended, he was sentenced to 12 years in prison. Boy, talk about a real plantation. So if you thought the adrenaline rush from planting drugs was good, wait till you go to prison for 12 years with some of the people that you planted drugs on.
What is it?
Now, I strongly suspect that, in addition to the whole adrenaline aspect, it's worth looking at the fact that police departments generally have recognized that potential deputies with a higher IQ level will tend to get bored as public servants during training, and will have a harder time following orders in general, which I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, is just another way of saying they don't hire smart people. They must have realized that trying to train intelligent, good-natured men and women to become obedient thugs for the state was a complete waste of taxpayer money. Look, don't get me wrong, I realize there are plenty of college graduates who are very intellectual who go on to lead successful careers as police officers. But is going into debt to pursue a career in some other field just to wind up in a dangerous and stressful line of work that didn't require a college degree to begin with a true hallmark of intelligence? I'll let you ponder that. And hey, while you're pondering that, ponder this. What exactly is the difference between intellect and intelligence anyway? We'll have to explore that question further in the next section. And so, with that, I think it's only appropriate to end this section with a clip of Officer Kruger.
QR code or text pay. Failure to pay or extend time may result in boots. Okay, so how do they know if they paid or not? That's what I want to know. How do they know if they paid or not? How do you know if they paid or not? How do you guys know if they paid or not? Oh, they're gonna ignore me too. Help, rape, fire, 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 fire. Look at, that's great community relations too. How do you know if they paid or not, ladies? Hey ladies, hey ladies, hey ladies, hey Kruger. No, I'm not going to before. There's no if, there's no nothing.
You can go to the other side of the street, you're going to get arrested. I'm not warning you again.
What are you talking about?
Go to the other side of the street right
Why?
now.
Wait, tell me why first.
You're under arrest. You're not.
No, I'm not under it. Okay, you go.
Stop resisting. Stop resisting.
She's bleeding.